My name's Jim. I'm 40 years old. I come from a little fishing town in the northeast of Scotland called Fraserburgh. And I just want to share how my life has changed dramatically and how I'm living a life today that I never ever thought was possible. How I live a life of freedom, how I live a life of purpose and fulfillment, and I'm so thankful for what I get to do in life, you know. As I said, I come from Fraserburgh, just a little town of 12,000 people. It's a fishing community. You know the lifestyle, you know. I did all right at school. I went into drugs, started smoking, drinking, hash, speed, ease, acid, mushrooms. And then when I was 18, I'm in amongst heroin. Not a clue knowing that it was going to destroy the next 20 years of my life that I never, you know. And within a year, I was injecting the drug. And I'd left school and I'd went to sea as a fisherman. You know, I don't know if many of you know about the fishing, but if you've seen trawlermen on TV, that's a job that I used to do, and I used to do it as an addict. I'll tell you, if one word could describe hell on earth, that was hell. Like me going to sea rattling, I used to do rattle after rattle after rattle, strung out all the time, making big money. I did. Used to come home with thousands and thousands of pounds, but I was just running about like a madman, coming home, scoring gear, injecting. You name it, I was doing it. It was just crazy, really bad. You know, at the age of 18, I was in a relationship. I had a son that was born, and I'm going to speak about him a bit later on. I'll bring him up. I walked away from the relationship. I did nothing to do with his life because it was all about me. I was a very selfish person. All I wanted to do was get high. I loved injecting gear. You know, I'd got to the stage where I had no veins left, and it was just I'd found out about injecting my groin, and I just thought it was paradise once I found this out because I could get myself straight away, you know. In 2010, I ended up in amongst crack as well, and I used to take the two drugs together, you know, heroin and crack together, and it was just a total disaster for me. The next 2 years was really the worst years of my life ever. You know, I got from bad to worse. My family, my friends, everything. It really was a bad way that I was in. My mother used to say to me all the time, Jim, you're working hard out at sea. You know, I never ever thought I had a problem because I worked. I was coming home with all that money. I was a hard-working guy. My whole family was at sea. They were fishermen. So, you know, it was bred into me. It was in our blood that we're going to sea and make money. But I always thought I was okay. But really deep inside, I was really hurting. My health deteriorated really bad. I was down to like 9.5 stone and no teeth in my mouth. You know, I was just a walking disaster. I was a mess. And then it just so happened, praise God for Christian nurses, because I was in hospital in Fraserburgh. And just, again, believe it, just brilliant. I was in hospital with a blood clot in my leg. My mum was with me. I was crying my heart out, you know, this is a waste of time. I can't keep doing this, you know. And this nurse had seen me crying, that she did. And she'd said to me, there is help out there for you. And she'd told me about the Solid Rock Cafe in Fraserburgh, where Paulinus manages. And she gave me the number, you know. I knew all about the Solid Rock Cafe, but I knew they were Christians. I thought they were crazy. I thought they were mad, you know. I didn't want anything to do with Christianity, because my understanding of Christianity was songs of praise on the TV on a Sunday. I was so wrong. Praise God, you know. And I went down to Solid Rock Cafe that day, and I remember Paulinus, he dropped everything he did and prayed for me, and it was the start of an amazing journey in my life that it was. You know, I was like a street church we do there, and I was a guy came along and he was sharing his story, but I was hearing the gospel. I was breaking my heart. I was crying so much, you know, and it was something I was just drawn to it, you know. Within 3 weeks, I was into Teen Challenge, Northeast Scotland, Sunnybray. Straight away when I went in there, I was something about that place. I was something about the people, and I think of the story with the disciples, John and Peter, when Jesus says to them, "Come and follow me," they just left everything and went. It was like that with me, you know. I went in and I just seen something of Christianity that I was drawn to, that, you know, I wanted something of it. I remember I went into my church, King's Community Church in Aberdeen. I went in there on Easter Sunday 2012, and I can remember seeing people at the door who I used to use with, people I was at school with, and they were like giving this to God. I'm like, wow, check this out. This is brilliant. And I wanted some of it, you know. I wanted some of it they had. And I started to push into things of God. I remember for the first 3-4 weeks when I was in Teen Challenge, I responded lots of times, you know. Did I get saved? Did I get saved? I don't know, but I'm going to go for it anyway. I used to respond after respond after respond, you know. But I remember it was the 10th of May, 2012, that I know that I made that commitment, and I gave my life to God. And I'll be honest, I have never, ever looked back as regards, you know, for that date on, that's when I learned how to pray. I started to be into the Word. God used to speak to me. He would speak to me through the Word, and I would get to know the Scriptures and stuff, you know. And more importantly, I used to learn things about myself, that I was a somebody, that I was something of worth, that I was no longer an nobody. I never ever was a nobody, you know. And it was just great. I used to find out so much important things about myself that I could go and do, you know. I would find out what my identity was, that my identity wasn't in a chemist in the morning. My identity wasn't in a needle, a gear, going into my groin. My identity was in Him. My identity was in Jesus, you know. And it was just incredible, you know. I'm very, very thankful for Sonny Bray Teen Challenge. I always said there when I was there, I says, one day I'll come back and work in that rehab. I used to say it, but I didn't really know. You know what I'm saying? You get like yawn and you're like, will it really happen? But I'll tell you, God had a plan for my life. After Sonny Bray, I went down to a Teen Challenge school of ministry in Nottingham, where I really grew in God. I did. You know, it was about evangelizing, going out to streets in Nottingham and telling people that they are a somebody, telling people that that God has got a plan for their life, and they are of worth, that they are, you know, and their lives can change. I loved it. I really grew myself. Little things that I always thought would never ever happen. I learned how to drive. You know, to some folk, it's nothing. I never ever thought I would have a car. I never ever thought I'd have a driving license. But God says with all things, with Him, it's possible. You know? That was great. I really loved my time down there. I did the school of ministry, you know, just pushing into things of God. And after that, I got a job in Willoughby House that I did, which is the rehab, the main Teen Challenge UK rehab. I was a staff member down there. Amazing times I had, you know, really getting pushed out my comfort zone. But I knew God's interested in my development, not my comfort. You know what I'm saying? Just incredible. And it was just after that, I remember I was at home one night for my weekend, back up in Aberdeen, and I just felt, I was at a prayer meeting in church, and I felt God saying this. He says, come home. I didn't really get it. I wasn't sure what He was saying, you know. And it was just a week or so after that the centre manager in Teen Challenge, Sonny Bray, Gordon Cruden, had phoned and said, Jim, there's a full-time job here if you're wanting. You know, it's up to you. Can full-time ministry. The job's yours if you want, you know. I thought about it. I prayed about it. But I knew it was God confirming what He'd said to me in church like the week before, you know. So I went for it. I came up there, and I remember Gordon had phoned me and he'd told me about my son Shannon. You know, when I was 18, I walked away from my son Shannon. I had a relationship. I was never a part of his life because it was all about me. You know, my drugs was more important. My lifestyle was more important than that. You know, but he'd been in Teen Challenge himself, and he was hearing things about my dad this, your dad that. You know, and you know he wanted to meet me, so we ended up meeting and stuff like that. You know. Through my program in Teen Challenge, I prayed for my son nearly all the time. Even the guys that was in the program we used to pray with him at night and stuff like that, you know. I know that today my son is a part of my life because of what God did through that prayers, you know. And it really is. It's a miracle, you know. He's 21-year-old. Shannon, you want to come up here a minute, please? You know, I'm so thankful that I've got him in my life today, you know. I've got a son that tells me he loves me, and he's gave his life to Jesus. He's in fire for God, you know. It's incredible. It really is. And, you know, I look forward to him taking responsibility and being a part of his life, something that was gone. God tells us in the Bible that He'll restore the years that the locusts took away, you know. And this is something so valuable to me. I'm very, very thankful, you know. I'm not perfect. I'm by no means perfect. I get it wrong sometimes, but I'm very, very thankful for the people in my life that help me, that sometimes give me the things that I need to hear, but then I want to hear, if you know what I'm saying. You know, the people that God's put in my life. Thank you very much for listening. Nice one, Jim.